Hello and welcome to Detention, live from the RPG Academy. I am Michael, and it's my job on these detentions to stay here after school with you hooligans, ne'er-do-wells, and Academaniacs. With me as usual, to my right on my screen is Scott. Scott, say hi to everybody.
Howdy, all you kids out there in Radio Land.
And then below him, but not in life, just on the show, is Matthew.
What's up, guys?
Nice. So if anyone is new to these detention shows, or if anyone's actually watching while we're talking about this live, it's more of a loose, casual conversation, almost like a talk show. We do cover some things that relate to RPGs and D&D specifically, but there's a lot of extra stuff as well. But as always, we hope that through these conversations, something might come out of it that you can use at your table. We're going to start, as we always do when we don't forget and screw it up, with extracurricular. And this is things that we are doing outside of the RPG Academy when we are not in these hallowed halls. And Matthew, I'll start with you this week. What you been up to?
Let's see. Currently, I've been watching American Gods, which is the new show on Stars.
Say nothing specific.
I will not spoil anything, but it is incredible and definitely filling the void that a late season 7 of Game of Thrones has left.
Does it live up to the book?
Yes, and
does
apparently
it exactly follow the book?
It follows the book in the sense where they're not keeping it in the same time frame. So instead of it being in like late 90s, early 2000s, the way it was, it's like boom, modern day. So slightly different, but it's really stuck to the book thus far, and it's
sweet,
very awesome.
Sweet,
and I'm totally enjoying it.
Excellent.
And I hope that we get like 4 seasons out of it. Also, apparently, like 80% of the cast casted themselves. They found out that the show was happening, so people reached out, like the actors reached out to the company doing it and was like, hey, I want to play Mr. Nancy. And they were like, yeah, okay. Like one guy actually tweeted like, see me on American Gods as Mr. Nancy. And they were like, yep, casted.
Boom, done. Our recruitment budget was 0, and we knocked it out of the park.
Swing for the fences.
I mean, again, all they can say is no. You know,
that's right.
No harm, no foul, right?
Exactly. And this weekend, going upstate to see my sister-in-law graduate college and have her accrue the final total for her debts and move on with her life. So that's a thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, about you, Scott, what you been up to?
I can update everybody on the saga that is Otto, my German executive sedan.
Right.
I told you guys last week that it broke down.
Yes.
Yeah. So I took it to the shop, and they reported to me that the car that I was going to sell for $2,000 would require an $1,800 repair for the high-pressure fuel pump, right? Yeah. That's in addition to the $150 diagnostic that I already owed, so I figured I was pretty sixes, and I just donated, right? So I called up the donation place, and I told the mechanics I was doing that. And then the dealership reached back out, and they said one of the techs, not the one who did the diagnostic, but another one, was willing to buy it off of me. And I thought, yeah, perfect. I mean, he works at the shop. That means since it constantly breaks down literally all the time, he'll be there to fix it, right? And he knows how to do it. Like, this is a pretty guilt-free way for me to get rid of this old clunker that has been this albatross around my neck. Preventing me from days of work at a time when it blows up or breaks down. So that's great. Sold it Monday. Got that all done. And ever since then, I've been enjoying the adventure that is public transportation.
In Baltimore?
Yeah. And really in the Maryland area. It turns out, unlike in the West, right, where public transportation only means buses, I have a multimodal commute now, where I take light rail to the heavy rail to an Uber that gets me to the office.
Yeah, that doesn't seem complicated at all.
No, and it definitely isn't particular for timing, and it also doesn't take a crap ton of time. So my hour and a half, 2-hour commute now, which used to be 35 minutes, is kind of denting into my morning and evening me time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Luckily, my girlfriend's also been out of town this week, so I've really, it's just been denting into what would have been us time. So,
I got you.
There we go.
Yeah, I think there's a question in the back. You in the yellow shirt.
Hi, Home Depot Weekly. I just want to know what is a light rail and what is a heavy rail?
So light rail is surface rail or sometimes subterranean rail for commuters generally, that are within denser urban areas. And heavy rail is a shorthand or oblique term for your traditional rail, right? So standard gauge railroad tracks that you deliver whatever freight or passengers on this coast, amazingly. I guess kind of both coasts have heavy rail passenger lines, like the Sounder, right, in Seattle. That's a heavy rail passenger line. So it's traditional rail, but it's like a $6 ticket to go miles and miles because they get such efficient use of fuel. So,
that is an interesting commute, Scott. That is an adventure that you will keep with you forever.
It's something, yeah. But I'm just glad it does not last forever.
So, question: do you hide the bodies on the train, or do you like throw them off in like just a low populated area?
There's a trapdoor. I mean, the answer is always a trapdoor, right?
Yes, that's true. That is true.
And the trapdoor under the trapdoor, which releases them, is random. So he doesn't even know where the body actually gets dumped.
Yeah, I don't know.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, they I just put them in the fireplace and it revolves, right, in my private car where I have my white fluffy cat, right, in my lounge chair.
Right, and your sniper rifle, which also revolves away into a beautiful Roman colonnade.
Well, I just mount that on top of the fireplace and it revolves, and then there's something else on the mantle, right? Somebody else is behind there. I think they take care of those things. I don't ask what they do. That's not my job.
It's best if you don't know.
He's like a level 3 government employee. I'm somewhere around 8 or 9. I mean, he's an intern at this point.
I mean, I may have to kill him someday. I really don't want to know his name.
Yeah, it's just easier.
That's like a goldfish.
I got a random email once. I automatically deleted it. I didn't want to know anything.
Yeah, plausible deniability. I try not to remember their names or birth dates or when the holidays are where you're supposed to, like Secretary's Day, Administrative Assistant's Day. We're not doing that. How about you, Michael?
So, big news on the Michael front and the RPG Academy front as well. Of course, our Kickstarter funded. Woohoo!
Woo!
And in honor, I'm wearing my bright yellow canary yellow shirt.
Me too.
Is also wearing his. And then Scott, not wearing the canary yellow, but wearing an RPG Academy t-shirt. So
it's wordy like me.
It is wordy. It's also witty, I think.
I think so.
It is. It's a cute shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, you got nice pecs.
It's like the receding titles in Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Off of my massive pecs.
You got nice pecs, Scott. That's gonna be like the second thing I'm gonna miss most about you not going to a catacon.
Not going to a catacon? What?
Well, I heard it was like fourth on a list of more important things.
Vacation time is slim, but I'm starting to get more optimistic that I can hit all 4. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, fingers crossed.
I did manage to schedule one for before I start, so that's going to help.
Ooh,
that will definitely work.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited about that. We still have 6 days left to go, and hoping that we can get closer to like 11 or 12. We still have some people might want to jump on because the funny thing about it, if there is anything funny, is there's definitely an art and a science to Kickstarters.
Mm-hmm.
This is my 3rd now. By no means am I an expert, and everyone I've done has been for an event, not for a product. It's a very different animal. But our budget, what we thought we would do, was based off of ticket sales last year because we ended up having over 300 people buy a badge. So we did some math. If we charge $35 a ticket, let's say even only half of them buy a ticket, or like say 200 buy a ticket, then we thought we would get to a certain place. We are well under that. Like I think we have around 100 tickets that are sold, which is like a third of what we thought. But we have a lot more money from sponsors this year, tabletop sponsors, and also just the corporate sponsorships. So it's the money's coming from different ways than I expected, but we still got to where we needed to get to. So I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's one certainly a way to look at it. Absolutely.
And then also I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Me too.
Awesome.
It was good.
It's very, very good.
Yeah, I missed it so far. It's a winner.
Oh, yeah, yes. Really good. Matthew, 1 or 2? What's your favorite between the 2?
Oh, definitely 1. But the 2 is very good.
Well, see, and I've been talking to some other people about that. If I break down individual elements, I think number 2 is almost always ahead. Like if I compare things,
right?
But overall, I still like number 1 better. I think it's kind of
The
weird.
Gestalt.
I'm a sucker for an origin story.
Number 2's got a lot more feelings than number 1.
It also has a lot more humor. Like number 1's funny, but number 2 is just almost. It seems like they were coming faster and faster than 1. So definitely a good movie. All right, so that's kind of us. Before we move on, what's everybody drinking?
I am still trying to get through the last of this Johnny Walker Black in my RPG Academy laser etched glass. I think I've got 1 glass left after this, so next Wednesday, and I'm out. I don't have to move a bottle of liquor.
Nice.
Fantastic.
I'm traditional L8 here tonight, though. I think this might be my last one for a while. I think I've been off the wagon for long enough. The weight I've put on everything I lost and then some. So I think it's about time to try to get back on that horse. So sadly, this will be my last one for a little while. I'm gonna enjoy it.
You just got to switch to Michelob Ultras, man.
That's right. It's a champagne of beers.
So what about you,
it's
Matthew?
Not, that's Miller. I'm sorry. Right now, I'm drinking a bad margarita, which is halfway done.
Is that a brand name? Like BAD?
No, that's just I made a bad margarita with what I have in my fridge. And then I'll be going on to
Like
a Two Roads Little Heaven Session IPA.
Ooh.
And then I also have some water. Scott's looking ready to judge. Like if he pulls out another booze, we're getting on a hotline.
Yeah. Like now I know what we're talking about for the rest of this show. Why you're in detention. I think we all know why.
You have a drinking problem, Matt. No, you.
Some people would call it a drinking opportunity.
Yeah. No, I love you and your friend that looks just like you.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's time to move on.
Oh, so hot, Scott.
Yeah.
And
Watch me make it with myself.
So we will jump into 10 things.
Hey.
10 things. All right, Scott, 10 things that you do to pass the time on this now extended commute.
Ooh. Call my parents.
1.
Look at horrifying Rent in San Francisco.
2.
Dispose of bodies.
3.
Complained that my revolving fireplace in my private car is jammed.
4.
People watch.
5.
Clean my sniper rifle.
6.
Plan new and more dastardly ways to make players hate me as a DM.
7.
Pick my nose.
8.
Regardless of being in public. Obsessively read Twitter.
9.
And then compulsively consider responding to strangers on Twitter about how wrong they are on the internet.
10.
Those are 10 things.
Good job.
Thanks. All right, Matthew. 10 things that a beholder would not want to see.
A Knoll Warlock.
1.
A place where you put the eyeballs.
2.
That fairy that scoops out eyeballs with an unsharpened spoon.
Oh, the
3.
eye fairy, yeah.
Yeah, the eye fairy. An iris lily.
4.
A bouquet of roses in the off shade of purple.
5.
A flat rock.
6.
Something that doesn't fly.
7.
A free soul.
8.
Happiness.
9.
And a pair of pants.
No. Oh, beholders have terrible
Those
time
are
with the tailors.
10
They do.
things.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yes.
10 things that you wish were on that shelf that I can see that are not the 3 books that I can see on that shelf.
A magic weight loss pill.
1.
$1 million.
2.
A second stack of $1 million.
3.
All of the RPG books that I sold that I now regret selling.
4. That's
All the
sad.
magic cards that I sold that I regret selling.
5.
All the money I spent on both of those things, which would be almost another stack of $1 million.
6. Oh, it's so true.
A new computer that will let me host OBS and Twitch.
7.
A manual to The Secret of Happiness.
9.
A signed copy of
8.
The Dark Tower,
9.
but not signed by
9.
Stephen King, just signed by someone.
Interesting. I can sign that for you.
Oh, good. That would work. A copy of shit, like an original RPG D&D, like first edition, first printing copy of the DMG.
10. Great
Yay.
job.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. So we will move on, as we always do at this point, to used books. And this is where we talk about a campaign, generally one that has failed and blew up spectacularly. But as we do this more and more, we're going to eventually have to move into some that just we played. And what we're doing is, just like any good used book, we're looking in the margins, looking for notes to see what we can learn and do better next time. So I believe, Matt, you are going to talk about a campaign that you have played in tonight.
Sure. And stop me if we've heard this one before, because, due to our lack of like notes and fans and stuff like that and wikis, I might be repeating this because I talk in my head and then I think I've done something and then I really haven't, or vice versa. So I was speaking about American Gods before and how great it is. And a long time ago in 3.5, I guess it was, and D20 Modern, I ran a campaign for the old gods coming back into power. So all the characters were aspects or sons or daughters of ancient gods, and they were fighting basically angels and devils for control of the heavens and the hells. And it was really fun. I had I had a son of Odin. I had a Minotaur. There was an aspect of Anubis. Someone was the son of Ares, and they all got like all these different weird things. Like one got a tattoo of a raven on it, that if he fell, the raven would actually come out and then like fly him away like a little rocket pack. And one guy had a breastplate that had a scarab beetle on the back that would shoot out and then let him fly. Someone had an enchanted shotgun that did something I don't remember, and it was a really fun game that died because of time, I guess. At one point, I wanted to show the characters that they had the ability to go beyond life and death, so I killed them.
Okay.
And I put them in a battle where I just kept throwing things at them. And at one point my friend just looks at me and goes, "We're not doing good." And I was like, "Uh-huh." And then I just put like 2 more things on the board and I killed them. So then I had them like wake up with some god standing above them, like, "You are our Trojan children, blah, blah, blah. We back you up, yada, yada, yada. So you're back alive. But don't get used to this. We're not going to be here all the time." And it was fun.
All right. Some of that does sound familiar, but I don't know if we've covered it on here or if we just have covered it in other areas. Mm-hmm. So looking back on this now, what could you learn? What could you do differently? Or what could you take from that worked that you might apply to a new campaign?
I think I could be less heavy-handed with some of the things I'm trying to do. And I gave everyone a lot of stuff. Like, everyone's character sheet was festooned with things from all sorts of weird stuff that I just made up. So maybe a lot less of that, but it was a younger time. You wanted shit, right? Everyone wants stuff.
I think when you mentioned the stuff, I do think we did talk about this before. We went into some detail about the items that you'd handed out, as I recall. I think. Does that sound familiar, Michael?
A little bit.
It might
have been, but it wasn't live, so
maybe. But it was a good one.
So do you think that, because I do think that kind of gets into the mindset of players, which is sometimes hard for me to do because I DM most of the time. And I think sometimes that DM brain doesn't quite see things the way a player would. That there is a point of getting cool stuff that's cool. Going back to like the video game model, you kill a thing, you get money or you get treasure, and then you go buy better armor. And then you go kill something else and you get money and you go get a better sword. And that's fun. When I play video games, I absolutely enjoy that. I grind out XP, I grind out gold, but I don't do that in RPGs, which is one of the reasons I'm, again, within our circle of friends, I'm notoriously stingy with loot and magic items because I don't enjoy that from a role play standpoint in the game. I don't think it does a whole lot. So do you think that, is it a matter of just certain players do enjoy having those, or is it just you gave them so much that it was too much? Like, what do you think you could do better now?
I mean, I definitely do think that certain players are more attached to that sort of thing. And I think I'm also a primary DM myself, so I know that. So I was probably playing into that because from the back end, like money, I've never ever cared about money for a character ever in my life, I don't think. And I don't understand people who do. It's like, it's not real. Like, it doesn't matter.
But imaginary gold, come on, don't take this away from me.
That's like the one time you were talking about the shins, Scott, and you were like, can I cut the shins into thirds and quarters and make infinite shins? Like, there's no, and it was just like, it was a ridiculous thing to worry about. And I know you were kidding, but at the same time, it's like some people would be like, yeah, no, I'm going to totally cut up my pieces of gold until it's finite molecules in a bag.
Yep.
I've never been that way, but when I'm a DM, I do gift things because I feel like people gravitate to that. Just like I also like to do callbacks because I feel like that grabs people's attention. Like I'll always do, like I'll throw Kylo Ren in a game, like his voice or his mannerisms, just because people will be like, "Oh my God, he's he sounds like Kylo Ren." Yeah, I like that guy. So, but that's something that I think it's a crutch that I have.
Kylo Ren is a crutch for all of us.
So one of the things that you talked about, or when you gave your story that stood out to me, two parts of the same thing, I guess, is one, you gave these characters sort of a version of immortality. Mm-hmm. You took away the threat of death, at least in some circumstances.
Yes.
But you showed that to them by killing them in the game when they had no chance of succeeding. Do you think either of those two things you would rethink or like how you introduced it would be different? Yeah,
I definitely do, because it was very heavy-handed, and it wasn't just like swarms of goblins like over and over again. It was General Custer brought back from the dead, as a puppet of God, and then the devil had sent some demons up, and then God had built a dragon out of some bones that he found. It was weird.
So basically, you were telling a story that you wanted to tell, and the players were the audience.
Yes.
To a point. To a point, yeah. I touched on this a while back. Like, it's a choose your own adventure. Mm-hmm. The players can do things, but only in certain places.
Yeah, definitely.
Until they decide they just want to open a furniture store and work there. And that's all they want to do.
Ling, 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 ling.
I don't care. It's not my fucking turn. Someone else talk to this fucking guy.
Hello? Did you want something? Hello?
Hello? I've got nothing.
I know, sir. And look, if you have your hands empty and you're sitting.
Do you have a bathroom?
No, we don't.
Do you have
bathrooms only for customers? Tell him bathrooms only for customers.
I'm telling him. Yeah,
what?
no. So
what do I have to buy to qualify as a customer?
Buy raisins. These on the table. If you buy some raisins, you can have.
How much are the raisins?
2 coppers.
For how many?
A handful.
Well, whose hand?
Yours. What?
Where did you come from? I thought you were like way in the back of the store, and now you're like
right
behind
me.
I
ran up here when I heard that someone was going to eat the rabbit. Guys, was going to eat the rabbit turds. I want to see this.
I really need to. Actually, you know what? Never mind.
Ew! Get out!
Bye.
Get out! Army, there's a spill. Aisle 2.
You see Army throwing on some gloves. No problem.
You're welcome, Internet.
This is the new show. This is the new long actual play series.
Let's just focus on the fact that Michael started the bit and then fell apart.
Yeah,
he was like, gling. We're talking to him. He's like,
what do I do nothing. Now? Well, do I buy furniture? Oh my God, I don't know how to do that.
Almost every time we do this, I'm Army.
Yeah.
And I have never been the one that instigated and was the customer. So I was like, oh God. And then I'm like,
dungeon master.
I'll try to do a voice. Oh God, I'm terrible at voices. I don't want to do a voice, but I got to do some voice. I know. I'll do an old man voice. So all of that was going through my head that whole time.
Nice.
Yes. So getting back to the game, within the game, I would think, and I think we've touched on this in other avenues, that if you're going to kill the characters in a battle, which I think there are times that makes sense. There are certain elements of certain stories where you need them to know that if they die, things can happen. But as a player, I think I would prefer it if it was almost like a cutscene where you said, you guys are going to die in this battle. Let's narrate together a cool way. Because when you're letting me roll the dice, that makes me think there is a chance that I can succeed. Right. And then when that becomes apparent that it can't, then it's like, well, why did we waste this time? Like we've taken an hour of a combat that was in fact meaningless because we aren't dead. Those guys probably, like the ones we killed, probably doesn't matter to the story. So I think it would be better to just do it as either as you narrate a cutscene or just tell them up front, no one survives this battle. How does it look like to you? Do you think that would work better or not?
Narrate through it.
Well, yeah. From a more mature approach, like now, I understand that. Then I definitely didn't, but
plus it depends on the intention of the scene, right? What sort of emotional affect. If you want to get a lot of cool descriptions of brave deaths, then you go with that. If you want to completely rob players from any protection they thought they had out of their character sheet, like that's I mean, and that's brutal. But if that's the goal of the scene, and you're gonna like break them down, then build them back up or something.
But I do wonder, sort of like a middle ground, that maybe like the first PC death, you play it straight. Like the battle starts, everyone thinks everything's above board. Excuse me. And then once that first player goes down, because there's probably going to be some real emotion from the other players when you see them go down, and you get that true emotion, and then you cut to narrating the rest so that you don't make them all feel like it's a waste of time, but you still get that emotional, like that sort of, I guess, crescendo of emotion that you were wanting when you planned out that scene.
That actually makes a lot of sense, because it's like a little bit of best of both worlds, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B type of stuff.
Yeah. All right.
But I did think about this because A, American Gods, and B, I was like, American Gods is kind of like on the forefront. Maybe I could bring this game back, try to throw it through Pathfinder, because Pathfinder is basically you're playing gods anyway, right? You get like a feat every level, and you like get a stat increase. You're basically monsters from the word go. So I was like, maybe that'll take off. So that's why I thought about it.
So have you adapted other media before, movies, books, TV? Like, how do you feel like that works when you're trying to model if not that exact story, but the feeling or a theme of a story?
I haven't had a bad time with it yet. I'll say yet, because I definitely have other things on my phone and my notes app that are loosely based on things. But I haven't had a bad time with it. And a lot of times people don't even see it, which is good. Like a lot of times people will just be playing it, and then like the game will end, and then I'll just say to them like, oh, that was based on Home Alone. What? Yeah, it was based on Home Alone.
The NPC Wilson, you never saw his face? I mean, come on. I thought it was obvious.
I wrote a Werewolf the Apocalypse campaign based on Lose Yourself by Eminem. Told people that after it. I was like, yeah, I've thought of this whole thing after I listened to that song like 16 times in a row.
I think I mentioned this like in one of the super early shows with Evan. The campaign that we were playing before we started Made Men, which Made Men was sort of attached to, was based off of a commercial that Chuck Norris did back in like 19 whatever. He did an anti-Obama commercial.
Really?
Political, yeah. So he basically, which I guess that means it had to be like 2004, but he said that if Obama is elected, we will have 1,000 years of darkness. And so the campaign was built around the PC
1,000 years of darkness.
And then their characters got transported 1,000 years in the future when they're coming out of a dark ages, and their goal was to figure out what happened to cause it, and then go back in time and fix it.
Interesting. I just remember those Chuck Norris commercials for
the Total Gem.
No, it was this. I don't know if he was going out for president or senator, but it was a guy, and he would talk about the political figure, and then the political figure would come on stage and say, the Ninja Turtles were loosely based on a true story. Chuck Norris once ate a turtle. 3 days later, he shit it out. It was 6 feet tall and knew karate. Like he would tell Chuck Norris jokes, and then Chuck Norris would come back and tell like real bits about the political figure. The fucking Mike Huckabee.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
It was incredible. Also, that's my favorite Chuck Norris joke, is an intro one.
There are quite a few of those that I actually find really funny. So there's a podcast I listen to, Kevin Smith, from the movies like Clerks.
Right.
They do, and it ends, every episode ends the same way, and it's Liam Neeson penis jokes. Apparently, Liam Neeson has a famously large penis.
What?
Yes.
Proof is in the pudding.
Again, I haven't
Puts
seen
it in
it.
pudding?
Mm-hmm.
But the word on the street is
there's so many kinds in England.
It's ginormous. So there's basically there's a website called NeesonCock.com.
Perfect.
Where people can go and put in facts about his cock the same way that people do like jokes about Chuck Norris. And it's like, it's so big. And then they'll take like a natural disaster where it shows like a log falling across the road, like, and see like, this was what happened when he fell asleep while camping. It's just weird stuff like that. But it's actually
bring. Hello, I'm looking for someone to put me cock.
Okay, is this another sex thing? Because you're the third guy to come in here today. Is this like a hazing ritual? Are you from one of the universities?
Do you have a chicken? Do you have a chicken?
Yes, my great big cook. Look at my cook.
Yeah,
it's so big.
We get that all the time. It's across the street. There's a feed store. And with chicken wire, we are 1338. They are 1833. Happens all the time.
All right. Well, since it's a furniture store anyway, do you have somewhere I can rest my penis?
Army, handle this guy before I fucking kill him.
And then all of a sudden you see me putting on gloves. Like, all right, I want it.
2 hours later.
I don't know what happened, but Cassandra became very angry about working at this store.
You've been extremely angry ever since we've been doing this.
He was his own boss for like 300 years, and now he works for this crazy lady.
Doing no science or research whatsoever.
He's pissed.
Just keep yeah, he's not a happy camper.
He's under the man, and he hates it. Like,
yep. Yeah, he preferred studying idiots, not working with them.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I don't know what happened. Like one day I was just like, he snapped and he never came back.
He's like a middle manager. It's like, 20 years in, just realizes this is my life.
Yeah, he just woke up in a cold sweat one day. Was like, no.
This is all there is.
Fantastic.
Dane sleeping on a pile of couches.
I can feel there's an imperfection 3 couches down. It's not.
I'm gonna give that couch away to some idiot and then steal it back later. Maybe they'll fix it.
Nice. All right. So looking back on your campaign, are there any other elements that you would like to pull out and maybe talk a little bit about something again we could hopefully do better next time or take from for another campaign?
I like the fallen gods thing. I want to do that again. Yeah, like I have this concept for another like campaign about how Thor lost the hammer and then like was no one and then he like slowly became Thor again.
Yeah,
like that's kind of the story. I kind of want to do that as like a D&D campaign and have like this like schlub who's like, I'm the god of thunder, and it's like, okay, bro, we believe you, but we're really just bumming around for fun. And the whole time it's like you're like collecting his like artifacts and stuff, and he is literally becoming like the god of thunder, and it's like, oh shit, he wasn't fucking lying.
I think those campaigns though, it's hard to pull that off when you have a party, because you have the one player who's the god of thunder, and then you have 3 other schlubs that are with him or her,
which is why I was thinking making the god of thunder just an NPC.
There you go.
And just like never roll dice for him. Like he just does, total, like you just, narrate whatever he does. Like there's never a sheet, nothing. It's just like, oh, he's holding his own over there. He's kind of always like slightly off camera, except in like scenes where he's being spoken to by the other.
But in that case, you now have the players not being the main characters of the story they're in.
Yeah.
Which I think some people would be okay with that and could find some interesting
Yeah.
ways to do that. I think a lot of players, I think, would have a hard time with that.
It's like the Gandalf in the Thorn Company thing. Like,
Yeah, it's like,
I've
why do
grown
I need
tired of you dwarves.
You got anything, Scott?
You know, what I got is maybe this and this.
Oh shit! Great transition.
Where have my fingers been? Where have my fingers been?
J.C. Penney's.
Look, Margaret, I just don't think you're gonna find hand towels this fine at Sears. Nope. I don't trust JCPenney anymore. You know, they used to be made in China, where all the good stuff was made. I don't like this Malaysia. I mean, what is that, like a malodorous Asia? I don't know. Margaret, please, we'll have to go across town. We're already late for book club. No, the hand towels are worth it. I just don't want our kids knowing that we don't have enough money for hand towels. Oh, Margaret, please. And that's where my fingers been. Nice.
Where have my fingers been? I said, where have my fingers been?
The Dungeon of a Beholder.
And how many eyes did he have when you saw him? 7. He had 7 fucking eyes. Oh my god, when I saw him he had 6. Does that mean he's growing more eyes? I don't fucking know, man. It's so weird. Guys, will you shut the fuck up? Oh my god, I thought that was a pile of rags. No, when I came in here, he had 3 fucking eyes. 3! He's like a fucking hydra or something. Oh my god! He's coming back. I can hear him floating along. Ah! And that's where my fingers been.
Yay. Where have my fingers been? I said, where have my fingers been?
At the break room at your job.
Hey, did you see the game last night? No, I don't really watch sports. It's a good game though, right? I just said I don't watch sports. Like sports? No sports. Football, sport. Baseball, sport. But not seen you. Yep, you too.
And that's where
my fingers been.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my god, that happened last Tuesday. To Michael. That was verbatim a conversation that happened.
Yep, that comes with feeling. That comes with, God, if I had a nickel for every time.
Well, before we got on, I was telling Scott about how at work I'm so antisocial. I come in, I do my job, I go home. I don't talk to anybody. I don't look at anybody. It's just in, work, out, gone.
In Lawful and Orderly, we've established as canon that we have this game called Basket Orb that we play during off times occasionally. And it started out similar to basketball, but then I had to write an episode or two, and now it's basically just all sports. There are field goals and touchbacks, and I think there are quarters, but also innings. I don't remember.
Each inning
has
each inning has 2 quarters.
Oh,
makes perfect sense.
Right. Because why would you need more than half? Like 2 quarters in the top half of the inning, and 2 quarters in the bottom half of the inning.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. And the quarters are really just ways to understand the way the ball is being played. If you have a touchback, you're automatically in the next quarter. Makes perfect sense.
It's fantastic.
That'll all be in the wiki. You don't have to remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move into our final topic for the evening, which is cryptozoology, and this is where we take a monster from the 5th edition D&D Monster Manual, at least until we get through all of them, hypothetically. And we talk about that monster, how we might have used it in the past, how we might use it in the future, if we have used it specifically, and then maybe some other additions we might pull in if there are any drastic changes. So if you have the 5e Monster Manual and turn to page 140, that is where the 5th edition gargoyle is at. So
and
Scott,
insert the gargoyles music here for those editing for the audio only version. Dun, 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 dun,
There's
dun,
gargoyle
dun.
music?
From the cartoon?
from like one of the best.
There was a cartoon?
Oh my God.
There was a cartoon called Gargoyles.
Ah.
Caleb just felt shame he doesn't know why, but he feels shame now because I think Caleb, that's like his favorite cartoon or one of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great freaking cartoon.
It
breaks a bunch of molds. Like if you like look at like statistics for cartoons, like Gargoyles is on like a different playing field from a lot of the other cartoons.
It's done by Greg Weisman, who's the guy who does Young Justice, which is the show Caleb was on for the first season.
Yep.
All right. So Scott, I know you and I were looking at the Monster Mania before we got on. So what are your thoughts on the 5e gargoyle? And then any ways that you thought you could use it, or have you used it in the past?
Oh, well, let's see. I like the 5e gargoyle. I think they majority stuck with other gargoyle things. One interesting change that I noted is that in the past adventures and things, they've described players being able to negotiate with gargoyles or reason with them. And in this edition, that is still possible, but gargoyles' only language is Terran. So good luck having another player who just took shattering sounds of Earth as a second or third language. Although in general, I think 5th edition doesn't give players enough languages, right? I think in a party of 4 or 5, like half the languages you just will not have covered. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's an overcorrection because I've always felt, especially in 3.5 days, that like you had all the language covered, like all the basic ones. Like you would have to go out of your way to look for a language that no one has in order to put a language in the game that they don't just know. Because you got an extra language for every like point above 10 or whatever on your intelligence, and then certain classes got bonuses. I remember playing a wizard who had like 8 languages at level 1.
Just littered all over. Question?
Yeah.
Question about the languages since we're on it. Has anyone ever done the thing where the language is like either based on or close enough to another language, so you like you spoke to that person in like broken English or like in half words to like give them like some structure of what was being said but not the right sentences, you know what I'm saying? Like for instance, giant and orc, right? So like orc is based on giant. So if a giant was talking but you understood orcish, like maybe you'd be like, home, eat
like
bak book bak today.
Spanish and Brazilian or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Spanish and Portuguese.
I have done that
That's
in third person. I've never role played out the broken language, but I have told them, like, you're understanding like every third word of this. Like it sounds like it might have been based off of this language. So the intent that you get is this person is lost and hungry. And maybe there might be other people missing. Like I've done it that way, but I haven't actually role played out the scene.
I've never done that with spoken languages. Never occurred to me. But I've done that with written languages because a lot of most D&D languages, like the much like modern languages, there are fewer scripts than there are languages, and so different languages will reuse scripts, right? And so somebody knows Dwarven. Well, there are plenty of languages that reuse the Dwarven script. So they're like, yeah, you can, first of all, you can tell it's Dwarven script. Secondly, you can tell it ain't Dwarven. And then third, you can get like kind of some symbols, right? It's a pictographic language, so some symbols are going to be similar or use the same.
I've always wanted to do that, but I've never done it in the moment. And that's probably because of my my lack of planning. So anyway,
you're an improv guy. You're planning.
I am.
No, so this is off topic, but that's made me remember something that is at 2 points brilliant and also awful at the same time. I remember one of the puzzles that I made as a younger man is I don't know if these are, I don't remember what they're called, but it's where you take like a piece of paper, a piece of something, and you cut out holes, and then you take what appears to be an innocuous letter and you lay this on top of it, and where there's holes you can see letters, and those letters spell a message. So the letter might be, I'm coming home for dinner, haven't seen you in 7 years, can't wait, love you, Ma. But when you put the thing down, it'll say like noon at the waterfall or something.
Oh, the cipher. Yeah.
So again, I don't know what that particular thing is called, but I made one of those, and I made it. It was pretty large. I made it out of cardboard rather than paper, and I told the players that basically it was a giant centric campaign, and they had gotten a letter that was translated from giant language, and it didn't line up, but it lined up in a way that gave them a wrong message. And the secret they had to figure out is because when it was transcribed, they wrote it in normal sized letters, and they actually had to basically change the font, and then they would line up differently. So they were supposed to like know to be like, well, why don't we rewrite this to size? And I had a different version of the letter with a larger font.
But that sounds pretty rough.
Yeah, it was awful. They didn't figure it out.
And then the Giants just came through and murdered all of them. But I don't like combat, guys.
Well, that's why you didn't simulate out the combat. You just said, well, the Giants are coming in and murdering you all because you didn't get my elaborate puzzle. You want to describe your deaths? Be as elaborate as you want.
Yeah.
Because this is our last session. Roll up new characters. Joe, you're running the next game.
And you can kill all the Giants but one because you all have to die. So, talk amongst yourself.
Yeah. Well, really, kill all the Giants but 4 because now we're playing the Giants. They're clearly the heroes of this game because they know how to write ciphers.
I am that DM that legitimately made a puzzle, and we set real time for about 3 hours. Like, I didn't tell them, I didn't give them, like, they just sat in a room.
Just like base, wall, bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
Took almost the entire session. And here's the best part is this was when I lived in Cleveland. We had one of our players, his name was Sean, and it's just, you would have to know Sean to get this, but he's the person who didn't have a lot of confidence in himself. But he would often have the right answers, but no one would listen to him, and he never would stand up for himself. He figured the puzzle out really early, and everyone ignored him. And me as the DM, I didn't go, I didn't like call on him. I didn't sort of draw it out. I just sat there and waited for someone to circle back around. And he's like, I freaking said that 2 hours ago. I was like, yeah, but no one listened to you.
Oh, poor
that
guy.
Sucks.
Yeah.
That's a
so I would not do that now. If I had a puzzle, I would like let them roll, give them hints. Eventually, like 10, 15 minutes, they were going to get through. Not 3 hours. They were ready to beat me to death. But we're talking about gargoyles.
Well, you know what? You know what I conclude from your story, Michael?
What's that?
That gargoyles are not as interesting of a monster as you might want them to be. I mean, we already let ourselves off on a side conversation. I think everyone listening to us, you basically know what gargoyles are, right? They're things that players who've seen a gargoyle once all know that all gargoyle statues are definitely gargoyles because you took the time to mention one, right? Mm-hmm. And they all know that it takes extra special effort to kill gargoyles in some magical way, right? They're kind of rough and tumble. And so everybody kind of knows the deal, and they're not that surprising or interesting after that, right?
So, again, kind of looking at that, I was trying to think of ways that you could make them interesting because I kind of agree that they're kind of a very niche-y character or monster. They kind of fit into certain types of games and certain types of places. I do remember
one gotcha moment, like surprise! You didn't realize it was a gargoyle, but after that,
right? And one in particular, I remember. This was like the AD&D version, 2nd edition. One of the players had a character that had dark vision, and I think in 2nd edition that was like predator vision.
Mm-hmm.
They could see heat.
Oh yeah.
And so I put them against a gargoyle that had been turned invisible, so it was heat neutral and invisible because that was the only way I could justify no one being able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's literally the last time I had ever used a gargoyle. But looking at this version, they talk about how they don't need to eat, they don't have to breathe, they don't have to sleep, they never basically get tired. And it made me think these are the Terminators of D&D. Like if one gets on your trail, they're never going to stop. They don't have to rest. They're going to catch you. The problem is they're a CR2. So unless you pump that up or send like 3 or 4, it's not really a challenging encounter for a party.
Gargoyle with 10 levels of wizard.
Well, the other thing it does have a lot of resistances. So that does sort of make it, even though it's just a CR2, it has resistance to most versions. Like,
yeah,
unless
got
you have
a lot of friggin' resistance.
Yeah, unless you have like magic weapons or adamantium or adamantine weapons. So I think that could be interesting in the right type of campaign where there would actually be fear that if this thing caught you, it was going to kill you, or maybe typical Sarah Connor, you have an NPC, quest, you got to get them from one place to the other, and the gargoyles are trying to get to them, and you're just in the way. That could be interesting. But the thing that I really thought of that I thought would be funny, because it mentions how they can be sentries, because they can literally not move for years.
Yep.
So they're great for putting in front of a door.
Yep. And
they can blend in. They look like a rock, or they look like an actual gargoyle, and then they just sit there. But it mentions that sometimes they get bored and they'll go like catch a mouse or something. So I could actually envision almost like a humorous encounter where you show up and on the way out, the gargoyle is like, fuck. And you have like this
just comes running out of the bush, throwing a mouse behind him like, No, actually.
Yeah. So I could just almost like this I don't know, Big Lebowski type conversation where he's like, please don't tell anybody this happened. I will let you leave with the treasure. Just don't tell anybody. No one comes here in like 100 years. No one's going to know, but just don't tell them, okay? Like, I get to see that being like a really fun kind of twist on the encounter.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Cheers.
Yeah. I've definitely thought about, I think the giveaway is the wings. I've stopped trying to describe them first as gargoyles and then as winged creatures. Like, they're so basically I often use them as just stand-ins for any old boring statues in a set and in an environment. Especially if I've already described statues there and then the players are taking forever to do something. It's easy to be like, well, the gargoyle statues get bored of listening to your bullshit and now they're attacking. Right?
What?
I get tired of you guys debating whether or not that lock is trapped. Because I'm tired of you debating whether the lock is trapped. It's not even locked. Open the door. What do you think's going to happen? There's going to be gargoyles on the other side that attack?
No, the gargoyles are on this side. That's why they're attacking.
Yep. Jump through the door and lock it on your way back.
I just have another idea. Maybe do almost like a Frosty the Snowman situation where there's a gargoyle that's been broken into pieces and the players put it together and that brings it back to life.
I guess a weeping angel thing too with gargoyles.
Yeah,
that would be but in a funny way. Like weeping angels are terrifying, but like gargoyles in a funny way. That statue definitely changed its position.
Its eyes are following me.
So just amusingly screw with players.
Yeah,
every
exactly.
Time they look back. You don't think they just try and stab it a few times after the first time?
But it doesn't matter because it's got resistance.
Yeah,
so
it's got all these immunities. So you could just take it and not move and be like, I gotcha. Like that could be another like really funny encounter. Like you just have this gargoyle that's gone insane because they've been alone by themselves for 1,000 years with no one to talk to. And they just like they don't want you to leave because they want to play with you. They don't want to hurt you.
No,
they just want friends.
Stay. We have tea. It's only 600 years old. Stay. Really, please.
Please. Do you use water in your tea? Because I don't have that.
Yeah. I haven't made tea in a long time. And then again, you have that like side flash where you're looking through the player's eyes and he's just like rubbing like two rocks together. It's like it just doesn't make any sense to what he's describing. Tea's almost ready. Would you like some sugar?
And the player's just like this.
You want some crackers? And there's like just like dead mice on a tray.
It's just no. I'm fine.
But I think that could be a great encounter because it's a thing where if the players just decide they want to kill this thing, it could be an easy combat. Or it could be a really fun role play where they come out ahead because they can bypass the combat. Maybe the creature can help them get to the end.
And that's a good point. I mean, if they've sat there for hundreds of years, they speak a language and they're not a scary foe. Basically treat them like you would any other townsfolk NPC, right? They're a witness to when this, mystical dungeon was built, right?
Yeah.
They can tell you all kinds of things about what may or may not be inside it. You just have to bribe them into it, right? Like, we got this black bucket of mice. Would you tell us how many magical doors they brought in here when they were building this cave? Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, that actually could be a very cool encounter where it's just like a information gathering. Mm-hmm. The gargoyle was when it was built. It was there before the first stone was laid. It's been there since.
It was the first stone.
True. Yeah. But I just think, that could be an interesting way to use them as they're designed, but not directly. So I think I could work a gargoyle into a campaign in a fun way after that.
I've never used a gargoyle in a game that I can remember. Yeah, never. Not to my knowledge. I watched gargoyles as a kid.
Every Gothic-themed game, there's just like, I don't know, it just seems to come up for me somehow.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never thrown them in, but the flavor text that they have in the DMG on DMG the Monster Manual, the shards of elemental evil, that's really like thought provoking stuff. It's pretty cool. Like the fact that they're just like a curse in the face of like the elemental air. The fact that they're rock yet they fly and they don't eat or breathe. It's really cool.
Very
like way to think
aligned
about them.
origin story. That is cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else about gargoyles before we close up that session?
The show's great.
So.
Check it out.
I'll
Disney.
So as always, we will throw things out to the audience if there's any here now or in the future. If you have used gargoyles in your games in the past or want to use them in the future, let us know how that went for your game, what your idea is, what your plan is. Leave it in the comments of this episode or hit us up on social media. I don't think we have anyone watching right now. Normally we end with a Q&A session, but we have no cues to be aid. So I guess
that sounded sexy.
Hey baby, you gotta bring.
Welcome to the Ottoman Emporium. I am Cassander. Can I help you?
Yeah, someone told me I was supposed to come here and ask you, do you have any cues to be aid? That's what it says. You paid me 2 coppers.
Shrike, get him.
It burns the claws.
Nice.
And
Well,
that's what my fingers.
6 days left on the Kickstarter. Please go check it out. We are not above taking donations, so you can throw us $1 to help support what we're trying to do. Come see us in November. It's going to be a good time. We'll all be there.
Promise.
Maybe
Scott.
Maybe we should talk about some of the things we're thinking about doing because we're here and we have no cues to be aid.
Can I? Because
yeah.
I just this week so some saint and some saint of a human being, some god among men,
Patrick,
some Adonis in the internet took it upon themselves on Reddit, and I just got little snippets of this conversation while I was Redditing instead of whatever I'm supposed to be doing.
Adonis and Reddit are just counter
I know, right?
To me, so
you
I'm
expect them
loving where
it
this
to be
is
such
coming
garbage,
from.
but some imperious high lord of humanity was in the middle of some random conversation on Reddit, and they were talking about lasers and feelings, and somebody mentioned the idea of lasers and treason, a lasers and feelings mashup with paranoia, and this saint, this Adonis among men, was like, I'm making this happen, and so they've spent a couple of weeks, it looks like, and put out a bunch of free resources, not obviously anything that replaces the Dungeon Master's Guide or the setting books, but I mean, which are all out of print and cheap and online and whatever. Anyway, but just enough player info to play lasers and treason. And not only have I always wanted to run a game of paranoia, but I the systems I think historically have been kind of vaguely complex, way more than I want to learn, especially learn enough to teach players in like a 2-hour, 4-hour game, right? So, but with Lasers and Feelings, I think it'd be incredible, right? So I'm looking forward to the strong potential of running a Lasers and Treason game, possibly starting with running one for the podcast to hone up my skills, right? Because obviously, who cares if the podcast's terrible? And then run one for actual live human beings who paid to get tickets to a catacon.
That sounds like a good idea.
I know, right? Bring a bunch of red squirt guns and stuff.
The last episode, the last faculty meeting we recorded, which hasn't come out yet, is all about being bad guys. And one of the things that came out of that conversation was the idea of doing a one-shot where all of the players play characters that have amnesia. So you wake up, and basically there's someone there who's like, okay, you guys ready? We're going to go rob the bank now, or we're going to go assassinate this person now, or we're going to go whatever. And the players have no idea. They don't have their memories, and everybody's given information. One of them gets a card that says, oh, by the way, you're behind all this. These guys are all good guys. You're the bad guy. You have drugged them, and you're using them to achieve your goals. And so not only are they trying to play the game, they start to get memories. Like every half hour, you give them a flashback, and they start to figure out what's going on. The idea is, can they figure out who the actual traitor is when they don't actually know there is a traitor? Because you don't tell them that. You don't say there's a traitor. You just say, this game is y'all have amnesia. One person gets the, but you're actually behind it all card.
That sounds fun.
That's like paranoia, except that in paranoia, everyone's a traitor.
Or you think so.
Well, and I mean, so that. And
it's
you
in
think
the
so.
mechanics of
Exactly.
So one big change this year, obviously, we do have separate rooms for panels. which also means we could do events. I know there's been some talk about doing like an improv show or sort of thing.
Yes, we committed to that last year. That was good. That we're doing that. That's going to happen.
Yeah, we now have a place that would make sense to do. So it's not going in the middle of the room where there's acoustics or interrupting other games. You can have a room. You can do whatever you want to with it for the time being. So we absolutely could do more of those types of things.
That was the first thing I was going to talk about. Is I actually want to do this improv show thing that we've been talking about.
We're doing
We can even do one a night. I don't give a shit.
God,
As long as it's not more than one a night, because then the second one's always going to be worse. But
really,
yeah. Have you ever done back-to-back shows?
Yes.
Really?
Often, at least the troupe that I worked with at the Charm City Comedy Project, a wonderful place if you're ever visiting Baltimore. They have a number of house troupes, but occasionally, somebody for another troupe that night would not have shown, right? Or there'll be like a special thing. It's a mashup troupe later the night, and so frequently you'll do a 20-minute set with your troupe and then a 20-minute set with rando troupe, right?
Interesting. In my experience, it's always been a worse show, at least in the beginning, because a whole show, no matter how long it is, you've already expended all your bits,
Creative
your energy, everything's
shows.
gone. So at the beginning of that, it's an even bigger hill to get up before you can get up to playing field level. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the experience I have.
Maybe it's I've just never done it with the same group. I wonder if that's a big part of it.
All right, so here's my idea, Matthew, for you to do, because that's how I roll.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We do that thing where it's like a live action, like role-playing game. So you have a DM, you have like 3 people who are players. And then it's like the random line game where we get everybody, when they come, they check in, they just write one random sentence. And so like as they're role-playing out the scene, they have to say whatever is on the
scenes
from
phrases from the floor. Yeah, I love that game.
It's not scenes from head. I guess phrases from the floor.
Phrases from the floor. I love that game.
Yeah, so that would be fun to like. But you're trying to actually tell like like a half-hour role play scene, but every now and then they have to just use these random phrases.
You have to. I was just thinking. My mother always used to say to me, "The Gorgon's in the room," and you fuck that Gorgon, right? She's gonna turn us all to stone.
Yeah.
My other idea for
it's not often that my parents would tell me that. Okay, this one's just blank. Is that supposed to be like an abstract joke? Is that?
It's on the back. It's on the back.
Nope. Still blank. There's nothing written here. That very funny. Ha 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 ha.
You've been struck by lightning.
It's called an improv show. I'm sorry, Matt. You were saying?
I was thinking of another potential catacon thing for myself. I was thinking about running a game once a day for the whole thing, so 3 times, right? That's how long a catacon is, technically 3 days. And I was going to have it in my room, and I was going to record it and then edit it and put it out into the world as like an AP. So it'd be like the same group. I would put that in the header, like you should be available for the rest of this because it will be blah 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 blah.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it with different players because that'd be interesting. But, same player group.
That's another total element. But I was thinking it would be cool if it was actually like one
consistent
story.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, definitely get people's different takes 3 days in a row. I like that. That's interesting.
So that's an interesting idea I've had.
You guys didn't seem excited about my lasers and treason idea though.
I am excited about it. I just, haven't played Paranoia or Lasers and Feelings, but I'm always excited about things you do, Scott.
Me either. Doesn't that make it more exciting?
I agree. It sounds cool. I'd like to learn more about it, but I'm not ready to invest at this moment.
I don't have the money to kickstart it, but I did share it to my Twitter feed, so I hope
it's only $300,000, and you can use the timeshare whenever you want. Like literally anytime you want, except the blackout dates.
I really need to talk to my mom before I make an investment that.
Don't. You know what? Just sign her name. Okay. Everything will all be fine.
I don't remember if she spells her name with 2 R's or an H and an R.
You know what? As long as you know her social security number, it doesn't matter.
I do. I have that written down under her phone number.
Perfect.
So just sign here.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Great. So this will be less than my student loans?
Yeah. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Army! I sold another timeshare couch.
Rubber glove. Someone's about to get served.
Warp.
So when I got married, we didn't have any vacation time, so we didn't get to take our honeymoon for like 6 months after our actual wedding day. And we got married. We were just out of college. I can't remember. I might have still been in college. We had no money. We were super poor. And so Val went through and she booked us a nice vacation, but it came with like, we had to do like 4 timeshare presentations.
Oh, I've been on so many of those. They're the fucking worst. You're just sitting there going, no.
Yeah.
No. Can I go now?
It was awful. So out of the 4, I remember one in particular, they just said, you can leave. Like we're college kids. We dressed down, we had like sweatpants on or something. And they just like, no, you're good. Another one though, it was hard sell. I mean, crazy. And they kept saying it's only this much money. It's like a car, like it's only this much payment. They don't tell you the total number.
Yeah.
They just say what the payments will be. And we were just like, we can't. And finally they brought over like the closer, and he's like, right now all I need is $300.58 and we can get you out of here. I'm like, dude, I got the 58 cents. And he said, okay, we're done, let me leave. But yeah, those are awful. And I remember, like, I can very clearly remember there's a table next to me and they popped some champagne because someone had bought. And I looked over, those people had no idea what they did. Like that contract should have been null and void because they clearly had no idea what was going on, but they just bought a timeshare.
So I honestly thought this was like an urban legend and it didn't happen to real human beings.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
No, this is real.
Oh, I know timeshares are real. I didn't know like the high pressure free vacation sales events.
Oh yeah.
Like I thought we joked about them because they used like it was a thing like during the 70s for like a year, and then Congress outlawed it because it was horrible, and now we just joke about it for the next.
No, this isn't the Slender Man or your organization, Scott. This is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have not been disavowed.
Yeah. My parents have a timeshare, so whenever we use theirs, we have to go to they keep calling you unless you show up. So we go. And it was a waste of like 2.5 hours one day. They were just like, okay, so we're going to send over Maureen and she's just going to talk to you about what you heard here. And we're like, oh, fucking K.
Yeah.
Hi, did you guys have a good time? Yes. So I have this deal for you. And it's like,
No.
No.
It is high pressure sales. Funnily enough, we actually own a timeshare now. But it was basically gifted to us.
Yeah, sure it was.
My uncle, my wife's uncle passed away.
Now, all we have to do is pay the annual fees.
Well, which is true. I mean, yeah, we basically, well, I mean that like we didn't have to pay anything to them. They gave it to us, but we took over the payments,
right.
Which in that case actually works out because we have the equity. It's a cheap vacation. We get a week in Gatlinburg for less than what it would cost to pay for a hotel. So in that sense, it actually is a good deal, which is the only way we ever would have done it is someone basically gave it to us and we just took over the payments.
You said Gatlinburg like it's someplace that we should recognize.
It's Gatlinburg. It's the place that burnt down last summer and our timeshare was gone. It literally was burnt to the ground.
Did you just get like a big and awesome insurance settlement?
No, they're rebuilding it. We got our fees were comped for this year, so we don't have to pay, but we can't go because there's literally nothing
Gatlinburg.
There. Seriously, you've never heard of Gatlinburg, Tennessee?
No.
It's in Tennessee.
Oh my God, dude! You guys have to. It's like I don't even have to explain it. It's like
Disneyland.
Is like Tennessee a state in the Union?
It's like Dollywood's right there. It's like the redneck version of New Orleans during Mardi Gras. There's just like there's stuff on both sides of the street, neon signs, just crazy.
Drunken,
all these little
armed people.
Yes, drunken armed people. These little mom and pop stores everywhere. Like literally, you can go in and buy like a ninja sword and nunchucks, and go next door and buy like homemade fudge. You can go in the next store over. You can get like
a revolver.
Yes, you can get a revolver, or you can get like a knockoff Gucci Nirvana shirt or whatever the hell those make. It's
Gucci Nirvana shirt. Is that
exactly. It's amazing. Yes.
Interesting.
You're not selling me on this place. This doesn't sound amazing.
It's amazing.
I feel like what you've described is a large flea market.
That's actually not too far. But they also have all these little like kitschy. Touristy things. There's like a Ripley's Believe It or Not museum there. There's like a wax museum there. There's all these like haunted houses. They're like puzzle rooms.
They have those things here in Baltimore. They're called abandoned homes.
Well, these are not abandoned. They're actually built and constructed for a specific purpose.
These
Yeah,
were built and constructed for a specific purpose.
It's to be abandoned.
Yes. It was a money laundering scheme. We just needed to build a building. We said it cost $8 million. It cost $2 million, and we're golden.
And then we just charged the city to bulldoze it.
My parents' timeshare, technically, the timeshare that they bought is in on the Gulf Coast of Texas. I don't remember the town off the top of my head, but I know that it was wiped out by a hurricane like a couple years ago. So they had the same thing where it was comped or whatever. But my parents have never gone to their actual timeshare. Yeah. They just put it in the space bank, and then we take out timeshares in places that people actually want to go.
Yeah.
So that's what's cool about a timeshare. But the whole selling you the timeshare thing is a load of horse shit.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Pretty awful, actually. So, all right. So, anything else about Academicon? Any other events that you want to do, or you want to?
Does the Kickstarter have any timeshare options? Because I would totally buy an Academicon timeshare.
Wow.
No,
not yet.
Not yet.
I can like flex my GM timeshare and like go GM at a conference, another one, right? Like another convention, and then some of the GM.
Well, if we ever do a Academicon East and a Academicon South and a Academicon West. And possibly
tabletop Academicon, like the next week.
Could not a Catacon. Could we do a Cata North, a Cata East? Because
Cata North.
Yeah, Cata North.
So I did like 3 podcast interviees in the last few days, trying to get drumming up some business, for Catacon.
Must be nice.
Nobody knows how to pronounce a Catacon. It is hilarious how many different ways people think it's pronounced, and I'm like, it's Academy. Convention
but it's also academic. It's Academicon. That's what I first thought. I was like Academicon.
A lot of people think it's Arcade Con, and we forgot the R. We misspelled it, and it was actually like a video game.
What shows are these?
I was on Nerdburger, which I think that actually came out today, and then I was also on Our Personal Interest, which I don't know when that one came out. And then where I think we ended up doing one show twice because there was an audio problem. So it actually was 2 shows, but I did 3 different interviews.
Interesting.
But yeah, again, I know I'm from Kentucky and I know I mispronounce words all the time, but it's like a Catacon. I could just, I couldn't imagine that it was a difficult, but yeah, there's a lot of confusion. So I'm just going to lean into it and say we're the great con with the terrible name.
I like it.
Lean into it, girl.
Yeah.
All right.
I would like to run. I'd like to play in some stuff this year. I didn't play in anything last year.
That'd be good.
Yep, me too. I was bound to the table. Yes. My manacles were only released when Michael said, "Hey, someone fucking didn't show up for their game. Go run something." And I went, "Michael, I don't have anything prepared." I don't fucking care. Undo your manacles and go out there and fucking make some people happy.
Bling, 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 bling. Yes, I'm looking for some manacles.
Oh, manacles. Well, you came to the right place. Good. Army!
Good.
Those are called personicles. It's PC culture now.
Oh,
well, then,
right. That's
I would like 6 of your finest personicles.
Is a very ubiquitous place
to hold my person slaves or person transport.
Are you?
All right, that's $15.98 each.
I'm in person trafficking. Is really what I do.
Oh, okay.
If you buy 8, you get a discount. So it's a little bit more than what you would pay for 6, but you do get the 2 extra. So it's kind of a cost analysis ROI situation.
You've talked me into it. You've made a sale. I'll go for the 8.
Ah, fantastic. Would you like to buy the extended warranty with this? For only $5 more per, we will replace any defective parts, or if you have an escaped person, we will pay for their replacement.
I do occasionally have people escape my clutches. But no, I think those extended warranties were all a scam.
Well, they're insurance. I mean, if you don't need them, they cost too much, but if you do need them, they're invaluable.
What do you think, other employee? I'm sure your opinion is different.
So I was going to lean in. What I would do is get the extended warranty on half of them, and then no matter which one breaks, say it was one of them.
Oh, these are not individually identified. Now that, But do I
Yes,
still
sir. They're not serialized.
But do
thank the
I still
gods.
get the discount for buying 8 if I have to buy 4 and 4?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good question.
The math is still the same. Let me take care of the books, Army.
Well, maybe if I have to buy 16, is that what we're saying here? All right. There's no discount at 20, is there? Give me 100 of your finest personicles.
We do have a scratch and dent section where we have some single manacles where half of them have broken. So they're more like bracelets and anklets. But, with a little soldering work, you might be able to make something out of it.
Mrs. Atonement, we need to open that pallet of personicles. We have a buyer.
The whole pallet?
The whole pallet.
It's going to take half an hour. Got to get the forklift.
Good. I'll bring
Army,
in
how
my
does
person
Invar
laborers to
feel
help.
about the fact that you're helping with person trafficking? Just on a friend to friend basis.
Oh, wait, I thought that was like a euphemism. I thought.
No.
What's happening?
He's a slaver.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm going to kill you now.
What? Bring.
Oh wait, not with the hammer, with her fists. With the gloves.
And that's where our characters have been.
Okay, well, that has been fun. But yeah, we'll talk about a catacon soon. We'll start getting things together. There'll be some information coming out. All good, all exciting. And again, on next Tuesday, which I don't even know if this will be out by then. Probably not, actually. So now I'm talking to people. It doesn't matter. But next Tuesday, we're going to do a live countdown for the last couple hours of the Kickstarter. If either of you want to jump in and out for a little bit, say hi, that would be cool, but obviously not required.
Sounds awesome.
What is that going to be on the Zoom?
On Twitch.
Thing? Put a link up. I'll see if I can jump on.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, to anyone who is not watching now, but maybe watching in the future or listening, this has been Michael.
And Scott.
And Matthew, I love you. Watch us next time.
And
Bye-bye.
we will see you next time.
Bye.
We can't see you. You can see us. You know what? Good night. Have a goodbye. Have fun storming the castle.
Bling, 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 bling.
No, we're closed. Army, flip the fucking sign.